recently Roxon came out with one of perhaps the most important tool yet. This is their wire stripper. And why is it that important? Well, because I think Roxon is really showing their dedication to even the marginalized, some of the tradespeople that most multi-tool companies look over and say, hey, we can't make a huge profit on this. We don't really care. And Roxon is saying, we care. If you really want a tool, we will make it, even if it doesn't sell to everyone. And they have made one of the best mini wire strippers I've seen in a very long time. This is pretty fantastic. Now, SOG has a wire stripper that sort of works on the same principle in that you put one side in the handle and then you sort of operate the other end. So imagine switching this the other way and then you squeeze the end together. I like how Roxon has made this tool right here in that you can have the cutter even at the bottom, which is really cool. This little notch here at the bottom where you can even cut the wire and then you can strip it. And I feel like you get a lot more pressure on this when you can like use your thumb and so forth. So I think it's really cool. Well, let's not just talk about it. Let's actually put it into practice. Now it does go down to a pretty small gauge here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and put this in one of the smaller slots here at the bottom and see how this works. And right there we go. Let's go ahead and bring that up a little bit and yeah, comes right off. Let's move up a little bit and I've got some of these small wires here. I'm not sure exactly what gauge these are. I think these were, yeah, and it works great. Really good. I feel like that hinge design, I was not a fan when I first saw this. I thought, oh no, Roxon just sort of messed it up. They just tried to quickly make a wire stripper and I'm not going to like it, but I actually do. I really think that's pretty ingenious. And look how thick that implement is. A lot of times with these wire strippers, they're very tiny, but with this heft right here, I feel like that really works. Now, one of the issues we may run into is this is not a huge wire stripper. So for something like this, I think Roxon was smart in that they realized, hey, we're not industrial wire stripper. This is just for a multi-tool. But in a pinch, this right here, yeah, so it's stripped the cable. It's just, I think this one right here, the wire is bent at the end. And so it's a little bit hard to get out. So I'm going to go ahead, open this up. And let's see if I can cut this wire here. Man, this is even hard to cut with the cutters on here. The stranded wire. Let's see. All right, so we've got it there. So I'm going to get that back into shape. Let's try this again. Now, I think this is way too large for what this is designed for, but as far as the cutters, they have already cut the cable and there it goes. That is impressive. Now this right here is 10 gauge right here. So I would not expect these wire strippers necessarily to reach up to there, but I guess that is 10 gauge right there. But yeah, so it works good. And you have a wire cutter here at the bottom. And then you have a wire cutter at the top, it looks like. Yeah, so you have a wire cutter on each side. These are really good wire strippers. And I think these take up maybe 3 or 2 slots. I think maybe 2 to 3 slots. And I'll try to put it on the screen exactly how many slots these take up. But I think this is a great addition at $7. Wow. I want to get a couple more of these. I would love if I could mount these on like a T-shank adapter. I think that would be fantastic, but these are really nice. Now this next tool I want to cover is almost exactly a Gerber dime, but it's called the Vera knife. And this comes in on Amazon now at $14. And I was curious because I would assume that these are made maybe at the same factory in China. And they have decided to go ahead and put different scales on this and sell it to a company under a different name. But this, I mean, this looks just exactly pretty much like the Gerber dime. It looks like all the tools are the same. Maybe, I guess, these covers here and then the outside scales definitely are different, but you even look here, you look at the top. Yeah, it's just pretty much identical how everything looks. Now, everything doesn't work the same. So that's what I wanted to go over, because this has the potential to be one of the best budget keychain and multi-tools on Amazon, because it's one of the cheapest at $14. Keep in mind the Gerber dime is about twice that. I think it's gone up to about $30 or so. And even the Nextool flagship or mini flagship that we just talked about, that is great. Probably right now one of the best, I think it is the best for most people, keychain multi-tools in the world. This one right here is about double the price of this one as well. So at half price, what do you get? Well, the first thing you get is spring-loaded pliers. And I want to bring the Nextool mini flagship out, and I guess there is a little difference. I still feel like the mini flagship has a little bit of a thicker set of pliers right there compared to this Vera knife. But otherwise, yeah, it's got these spring-loaded pliers, and then all the tools will be on the outside. Now, the obvious one is this bottle opener right here. And then one of the lesser known tools, or the lesser obvious tools, I guess you would say, is the tweezers. Now, this is where we start to see some of the cost-cutting measures. These tweezers just stay, well, closed. Now, notice on the Gerber dime, this has stayed in here for a long time, and right away these spring right open. So I think that's part of the cost-cutting measures. Some of these things will be a little bit inferior. Now, I guess I could sort of open it up, and maybe that would sort of fix it for a little bit at least. But these do feel very flimsy, but you do have tweezers of some sort. And the pliers, you know, work as tweezers as well. Now, the scissors, I think this is where it's going to be very interesting to try the scissors on the dime in this new Vera knife. I've got this crinkly plastic, so the Gerber dime cuts through pretty precisely that. And let's try these. And I feel like already these are going to win this Vera knife. I feel like they'll do better than the Gerber dime, but sometimes I am very surprised. So yeah, they cut right through there. Let's try the Gerber dime. Now, this is a little bit of an older Gerber dime model that's been around for a little while. I think I got this used. Now, let's try the, yeah, so already it is starting to struggle with that. Let's try, yeah, it can sort of cut through there, but these, yeah, these are not necessarily great scissors. Yeah, the Gerber does even cut through there. So these are definitely better than the Gerber, but I don't think they're really anything to write home about. I mean, they are tiny keychain scissors, but even as we illustrated on the Nextool mini flagship, those tiny scissors do fantastic. So these are not super great scissors, but they are a little bit better than the Gerber dime. I don't know that that's saying much, but at this moment, at least, they're a little bit better. Now let's go ahead and close this up. And we will look on the other side. These are non-locking tools on the outside. And we have, it looks like, the same right here. Got the flat screwdriver, and we've got the Phillips of a sort with the file on both sides. So pretty much the same. I don't see much difference on these. And then on the other side, once we fold this up, so on this side, we have the knife, and you can see again, they look pretty much identical, except I have to say that this Vera knife it looks a lot thicker, and for some reason, my Gerber dime knife has been bent very badly. I didn't even know that it was that way, but yeah, it's pretty bent for whatever reason. And this actually looks better. So far, I think this is actually probably a better value than the Gerber dime, except those tweezers. That's about the only thing I noticed that the Gerber dime has going for it. The tweezers are a little bit better. Now, one of the other tools that are on here will be the package opener. And this is very similar even in its flaws. So on this Gerber dime, I noticed that it looks like some of the metal has, yeah, it's not machined great. So on this one, I thought it looked like there was a burr. I think it's on the tip up here. I think it's a little bit hard to pick up on camera, but it does seem like it's a little bit rough. Let's go ahead and try this on a little bit thicker plastic. This is a Woven flashlight box. I'll be testing this out in a little bit. So yeah, it cuts right through that plastic. So it does seem like it's working fairly well. Let's go ahead and weigh the Gerber dime. It comes in at 2.4 ounces. And then this Vera knife, it comes in at 2.8 ounces. So it does seem like these scales add a little bit extra weight, but hardly any. And then when we go 2 grams, we've got 79 grams for Vera knife and 68 grams for the Gerber dime. So it does come in a little bit more lightweight, but I have to say for $14, I think this is a really good deal if you like the Gerber dime and you like keychain multi-tools. I definitely would pick one of these up. It's definitely not in the same league as next tool. Now, the last tool I want to talk about is this tool that I actually got off eBay. And this is another keychain tool, and it only has a couple outside tools. I think this is based on one of the Gerber keychain multi-tools. Let me know which one you think it is. Maybe like the shortcut or the clutch or whatever, one of those older designs. And this one right here has a file. It does have pliers on the inside. It has a file. It has the screwdriver. And then it has the Phillips right there. And then it has the knife and the bottle opener, another screwdriver, and another screwdriver. So we've got 1, 2, 3 flat screwdrivers on here, and then the Phillips screwdriver and the knife. So it's very screwdriver heavy. And then when we close this up, you have this keychain lanyard loop right there, I guess, of sorts. And then you have the spring-loaded pliers, which to me look very much like Gerber. Now, this one right here, I found this on eBay pretty cheap, but basically the exact same thing is going on AliExpress, and it's called the Mac Walker keychain multi-tool or something like that. And it is listed for around $24, which to me seems a little bit pricey, but it is a little bit bigger than the Gerber dime. You can see how it's a little bit larger. Now, I don't know that the pliers are that much bigger, but it's, again, straddling the fence a little bit between the keychain multi-tool and something like the PowerPint. So yeah, the pliers are marginally bigger, just a tiny bit. They're a little bit wider, I think a tiny bit taller, and they come to a little bit more of a needle nose, but these actually meet fairly well there on the end. And these Vera knife, these pliers actually met very well on the end as well. So both of these made overseas, exactly where most Gerbers are made as well. So I think a lot of these have some of the same designs, but both of these are budget options. They're a little different. I think I have mentioned this before in another video, but I don't know that I actually had the tool on hand. So having the tool on hand, I have to say that the pliers are sort of nice. They are a little thin though. When you look at this, they look actually thinner than the Gerber dime knockoff set of pliers right there. But overall, pretty nice little set of pliers, and I will put the link where you can find these on AliExpress.